Okay. What a go on, pon, what a go on.
Wagwan.
It's good to be back again. See you guys watching the videos and stuff. Please subscribe and also please leave a comment.
Yeah, the engagement's a little low.
Yeah.
But we see that you guys are watching, so we thank you for that. Yeah, so go ahead and drop a comment. We love to hear from you.
Cool. All right. So today we're gonna go on that journey. I was about to say magical journey, but it's a good thing I didn't because it has nothing to do with magic. So we're going to take a look at how to escape the loops in your life. And loops is like anything that's reoccurring. I mean, if it's a good reoccurrence, I think we're good with it. But if it's bad, then, you need to be able to identify it and then address it. Yeah. All right. I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think it's a bit easier if we just start off with a quick example. All right. So let's say, for example, you've been living at your sister's house or any family member's house, right? That's what most of the time you're there. And let's say every time you try to get your own apartment, after a few months, whatever reason, either you have lost your job or whatever reason, you end up back at your family's house or your sister's apartment. Okay, that's a loop. Okay, just so we get that out, so we know exactly what a loop is. Yeah, because with my accent, it might sound like a hoop, but I'm actually saying loop.
Yes. Well, I feel like it goes by many names. Some people call it something different. I can't think of any right now, but when I do, I'll let y'all know. But yes.
Curse.
Well, yes, some people think it as a curse, generational curse. A financial curse. People call it different things wherever they're from. So for the purpose of this video, we're just gonna call it a loop.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, a loop. So what's going on there is that there's a portion of yourself, right, that actually feels safer at the family house, and also that's the norm. And anything that you're used to, you're gonna feel safe that way, and you're gonna feel like, okay, that's the function. So there's a portion of it of yourself that feels that way. So that's helping to create that loop. So every time you try to elevate, okay, it literally creates situations where you're actually pulled back. Some people refer to as self-sabotage. I wouldn't even go as far as that, because sometimes it's not. Yeah. Sometimes just you needing to recognize what's going on.
It can be. And this isn't to be confused with deja vu. This is like specific. You're like, dang, yo, like this is like my third girlfriend in a year, or this is my, whatever. Like you're like, dang, I could have swore I always fall for these type of people. I always fall for this type of situation. If you find yourself doing those are the reoccurrence we're kind of talking about.
Right. So you, and remember our last trip out, we were referring to observer. The whole idea of you being an observer, you need to be able to observe yourself. So once you recognize the loop, though, there are some loops that are a little less complex. There are some that are very more complex, but they can be resolved in the same manner. So let's say, for example's sake, let's say the reason why you're going back to your sister's house after the new apartment is simply because you don't have the rent. Right? Let's say, for example, it's a rent. Either you've lost your job, mismanaged money, had to lend somebody, or whatever. Right? Once you realize that, okay, so that's the trigger point, you can't pay the rent. If the next time before you leave, when you get back to your sister's house, before you leave your sister's house, if you make sure that you have at least 2 months rent saved, then there will be no event to bring you back to your sister's house, because the end result, wouldn't be you going, right. There wouldn't be the end result of you actually ending up back there. Following? Confusing? So when you prepare, once you recognize the loop and you prepare for it, it's the event is not going to occur. Right. And even if another event, even if your a part portion of yourself wants to take you back to your sister's house, it's going to use another trigger. It's not going to be that event with the not having the rent, because you're already prepared for it.
Right. well, often what we call the $300 problem, to where it like you just need $300 for rent, or you just need $300 for that bill, or you just need $300 for that thing to fix on your car. Or it's just that one stinking amount.
Always.
That, and it's not even like your goal is unreachable. It's just like that tiny little bit, and you just like, you be like, damn.
Most embarrassing.
Right.
And it's always around that mark, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it may look different for other people. We're just giving some examples of what it may look like.
Right.
If your experience looks different or your loop looks different, let us know in the comments. We'd love to talk about that.
And with the example that she gave with the 300, that can just be easily resolved if you just stash 300.
Right. Or 6.
Yeah, and those occurrences will just basically just stop. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. Like I said, you have more complex loop, but they work on the same principle. Mm-hmm. Identifying it, okay, and instead of like following it, you try to go through it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if, in other words, going through it would be you staying at your apartment where you actually want to be, not just taking the way out of saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to be evicted, so let me just go back to my sister's house. Right. And you will never know, but you're actually on a loop, because a portion of yourself is actually more comfortable. Right. At your sister's house. And I don't see how that's possible.
Yeah, and that's why people often refer to it as self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage,
because it can often, with better preparation, and I'm not saying that it's easy, because we know that it's very, very hard, especially when you're staying with family or relatives, that it can be a little tough on the emotional and mental state. So we're not saying that you may not jump the gun, because I'm quick. You got one time to make me feel unwelcome, because I've been put out of better places type thing, but it's like, sometimes it doesn't matter the mindset or the situation, but what you're capable of. So if you know that you'll have what you need in a week or two, try your best to last that week or two. Try and use problem resolution as best you can.
Or just prepare for it, if it's one same static
event. But in the event that you got to move back into your sister's house because you lost your job and you feel like you're not going to be able to pay the rent and you didn't save up, so you're kind of preparing yourself, there is a sense of comfort there. That's why you like, I can just go back to so and so, or I can go back to granny house, or I can go back to mama's house, or wherever the case may be. So when you feel that level of comfort, you just kind of you're more likely to slip back into those same patterns. So to avoid
that's where you feel safe.
Right. Yeah. There you go. You feel safe. So to avoid that, planning or preparing better is always the best way to go. And in events that you are currently in your loop, some people would also call it the belly of the beast. If you just so happen to be in the midst of it right now, this is a great time to start preparing, to be like, you know what, I could do this, or I really want to kind of take a jump or a leap now, but maybe I could wait another week or two, or I can do these 2 things in order to push me forward. Any place that you have mentally or emotionally that you can kind of go and retreat into your Batman cave and get your 5 seconds of prep time, do that.
Definitely. I remember, this is just an example. I'm not playing like you're stupid, but I don't want you to feel like, oh, this is such a easy example. I mean, it can be extended. We can make it as more complicated, but the core principle is the same. I'm identifying it and see what the trigger is and just prepare for it. Okay. So what's going to happen though is that, let's say, for example, once you get over, let's say you have a bunch of rent saved up, right? So once you get over that, then don't be surprised if you start getting loops. But you will be able to identify it before it even forms into a loop. So you'll be able to say, okay, my rent, I have 2 months saved. I just met this girl and I think I'm going to buy her an engagement ring. And the cost of the engagement ring is both rents together. Now you know you're creating a loop for yourself. Okay, you know you're gonna get into that loop because you know once you're ill prepared, chances are
Right.
it's gonna come right back, and then you and that girl, it's gonna end up in your sister's house, mama's house,
if you're lucky.
if you're lucky. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's it for loops.
Yeah. So if you have anything else that you want to kind of go into depth with, let us know. Drop it in the comments, like, share, and subscribe.
Okay. All right. Peace.